Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome down to day 2 of competition here for the running of the 2026 Pooncarie Desert Dash. And with me this morning is Sam. Sam, the mood here this morning is a little bit less or slightly different to what it was yesterday. Yesterday was all about gung-ho, let's just get into it. And we'll sort of cover off on a couple of things that happened yesterday. But the mood is a little bit more... let's just say focused, okay?
Yeah. I think this is fast becoming a race of attrition, John. Thank you again, and nice to see everyone out there joining in for the live stream across today. Look, we started this race with, 74-ish competitors. I'm very interested to see what we finish with today. We've got 3 gruelling laps coming up, a service stop between them, but, a pretty high attrition rate yesterday.
And, let's do a quick hash over yesterday. We had the, obviously, the modern race wheels prologue yesterday. We saw some blistering times, some real blistering times in prologue yesterday. But what we did see was the track started to dust up and cut up. And we made mention of the fact that we saw that, and it was like, we're going to have to watch what goes on with the long laps. And I don't know about you, I was very surprised at some of the times coming out at prologue yesterday.
Yeah, we had guys up there in pro-light machines, the likes of John Towers, Lockie Bailey, Logan Gill, the young West Australian, only 16 years old, feature quite high in prologue, and then they really had to get on it for that first opening lap. But they really held their own. We had 3 side-by-side machines in our top 10, and as you say, a high attrition rate. Now, a couple of things are happening out there. There's... the track is obviously degrading pretty fast. They've made a pretty tight technical course and made it quite difficult for competitors. But the other thing is dusting. We had the likes of Bo Robinson having to withdraw from the event. He's unfortunately dusted the engine of his Mason Trophy truck. And we were seeing other competitors out there say, take precautionary measures to avoid further damage to the engine. As we know that this is a 4-round AORC season. The next stop is Fink, the biggest stop on the calendar. So you got the likes of Kai Camilleri. They had some dusting issues as well. While they could continue on this morning, I was chatting to Kai before in his pro buggy entry, they've decided to sit it out, to play the long game here.
And to be honest with you, Sam, that does not surprise me because, the amount of dust we saw on some of the coverage yesterday, those that tuned in and watched it yesterday would have seen a lot of that dust drifting, and it's almost like a low-level cloud across some of the sections of the track that we were looking at. The part for me that was really interesting was that there was almost like a group of competitors that basically got, for want of a better term, off the gas a little bit and drove to what they could see in front, and it wasn't just visual, it was what was in the terrain as well. And those are the guys that ended up completing the full event yesterday. It was only 1 lap, right? One lap. They've got 3 of those things to do today. So for the track to be what it was at yesterday and to get out of the gas a little bit and make sure you got home to complete day 1 tells me that there's a totally different mood or strategy of what they're looking at doing going into today now.
For sure. When you got guys like Lockie Bailey, I was quite surprised at his take yesterday. He is usually a tearaway in that car.
He's a gun, right?
Absolute firebrand.
Yep.
He came in yesterday and he didn't care that he wasn't on top. Logan Gill got him slightly, but his first comment to me was, we've still got 3 laps tomorrow. So
bingo. And that's to our point, right? These guys understand that you really need to survive the whole event, and 3 laps today, and with the Parc Ferme piece that they're going to have to run as well, that it's going to be very interesting to watch what some of those guys do as far as times and where they sit position wise. I think some of the guys may not want to be right at that very front end of the point and pushing to make the chase number. I think they're going to sit back a little in that zone and wait, and I think the last lap will be the most interesting because that's the piece where they'll make their strike, okay? And watching those lap numbers, even though we can see lap times, I think they'll drop a little, they'll stay consistent, but that last lap will change dramatically because if you are in that strike zone ready to go, you will push as hard as you can.
It's certainly building up to be a really exciting day here at the Pooncarie Desert Dash. Dale Martin, he is a fascinating story. A 2-time winner here. He's two-time consecutive winner. He's now looking at a potential 3rd one. I love this story because Dale's not, he's not a Bo Robinson in that he's not at the pointy end of every single round, but there's something about this place that really works for him. He's a smart operator, and I think he's going to be a great gauge of what everyone does in terms of times today too.
Look, if there's anything I could say about Dale Martin, I think Dale comes to this place with a car that's set up, geared correctly. Everything is almost at his fingertips, correct to be right for here. And I just think sometimes you get tracks that align with your vehicle the way that it's the second part of that triangle that works, the track itself for what it is, the vehicle, how it's set up and the way it operates, and then the way the guy pilots it, and that's the cream that links it all together in that recipe and makes it work. And for him to be 2-time and hitting for 3, it really is no fluke. It is the way the guy sets this up and comes here. He understands what's here, probably is much better than a lot of others potentially. I don't know, but he drives the conditions here so well.
Yeah, absolutely. We see the first competitors heading out now. Dale Martin, of course, leads these guys out. Quite remarkable yesterday, a 3-second buffer between Dale Martin and Boston Morgan Horan after 55 minutes of running. I just find that absolutely remarkable.
Crazy. And you know what? Boston yesterday was so on the gas, and he, as we can see now, no change. The guy just drives and pedals this thing like he wants to be there now, not later, now. But again, as much as he's got all the zest and the power and the flight that he pushes into this, he understands he's got to do 3 laps today. And if anyone needs to make sure they finish today, it's got to be this guy, because last year it did not go his way.
No, it didn't. But equally too, with Bo Robinson out, this is probably one of our main big hitters in the championship, and I was actually chatting to him straight after he finished yesterday and alerted him to the fact that that Bo hadn't finished, and you could see that sort of recognition wash over his face that okay, all right, that this could be a key championship round for me.
Oh, and absolutely, it's the old adage, you got to make it while it's there and take it, and he will.
Yeah. Toddy Lehman now leaving our start line, the South Australian driver. Really nice result from him yesterday. And again, he's another one who's really heeding the same advice that everyone's sort of giving themselves, in that he wants to play the long game here.
The great thing for Todd yesterday that we saw was that there really wasn't a lot that they did to that car. It came in and they did the typical service points for him, and they didn't get any deeper into it, which tells me that thing's in really good condition going into today too.
Some great aerial shots making their way through. It's lovely driving conditions here, to be honest with you. We do have a lot of dust to contend with, but quite a chilly morning. And just chatting to Brett Comiskey a little bit earlier, so it doesn't get any better than this. It's not too hot, not too cold. Comfortable for the entire lap.
Well, we're talking about today here at Pooncarie. It'll get up to a high of 19 degrees, Sam, and they're talking wind gusts of up to 30 kilometres an hour. I think we're roughly at about 15 or 16 k's at the moment, so almost double that later today. So that's going to work in our favour to push some of this dust away.
Toby Waitley making his way from the start line, one of the real stalwarts of this sport, and I think he has every right to put himself in the frame today as well if he can hold it together for 3 laps.
Oh, this is a golden opportunity for Toby today. Hailing out of the Riverland, he's very similar terrain for where they base themselves, and as you said, with some of the bigger hitters out, that just opens the field up enough for this guy potentially to pick up the points he needs to go into that next round with a good volume or a great standing to go forward.
Interesting. We've got a mix of pro buggies, extreme 2-wheel drive, extreme 4-wheel drive trophy trucks up there, of course, the side-by-sides too. But the sentiment yesterday, John, was that this is going to turn from being a pro buggy track, a little bit smoother.
To a truck track.
To a truck track.
Yeah. And that was exactly what we were talking about yesterday too, how it changes profile from the side-by-sides, from Prologue into the wider bodied cars, and as you can see now, Brent Smoothie now really getting stuck into it, and he's another one that really knows that he'll wait for that track to turn a little. The moment that it starts to rut up and become a track that really adapts to what he's driving, mate, he will get on it.
Yeah, Brent had a bit of a purple patch last year, a couple of podium finishes outright in some of the AORC rounds, so I think he's kind of found his happy place in terms of speed against longevity in these bigger events, and I'm excited to see what he can do today.
Shane had a chat to him yesterday when they first pulled up, and the beauty of that was, believe it or not, he caught him just as he pulled up and the engine was cooling down, and he popped the mic straight in front of him, and the demeanour from Brent was really cool.
Yeah.
He was good to go, right? He was really happy with what was going on, and it was almost like he felt like he really wanted to do another lap yesterday, right? Because he was having such a ball. So I'm excited to see where he's going to end up today.
Yeah, he's definitely an exciting one to watch, Brenny. I have no qualms putting the thing on its lid if he needs to, but it's just that balance, isn't it? Learning that, you've got to be there at the finish line to get the result.
Correct. Looking now, the next one away is, of course, Matthew Hansen went out, and you can see that as we now look at the pictures of that Nixon sponsored car. And I think Matty Hansen, he'll do okay out there today as well.
Yeah, yep. The Victorian driver, he's always consistent in these rounds, and he's been around long enough now to know that he's going to be up against it. We see some of the side-by-side entries as well.
Yeah, Benjamin Nixon there.
Yeah, it's a
little bit back further. That looks like that's Darren Agrella there. But we're waiting now for the next one to get away, and that'll be the car of Logan Gill.
Yeah, I love this story, John. 16 years old from Western Australia. This is his first fully fledged AORC race. He had his first off-road race, proper off-road race, having just turned 16 a couple of weeks ago, and now he is here in the big time. And it's funny, you could easily be dazzled a little bit, starstruck around some of this bigger machinery, but I had a really good chat to Logan yesterday, and I think the thing that impressed me as much as what he's doing here is just his demeanour off the track. He's a really impressive young kid. And
that's the thing, all right? If we weren't telling people about it, people would think this kid would be a seasoned guy.
Yep.
And that's not the case, right?
No.
He's got a lot to still do, but what he does now holds his own very, very well, mate. I'm expecting him to move through the field well enough today that he's going to end up in class right at that win point. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, look, I really hope so. He comes from good stock. His dad, Royce Gill, is a long-time AORC campaigner, and hails from Kalgoorlie, so he's, spent a bit of time on that track as well. So
this guy will keep him honest as well out there in the 622. This is Lachlan Bailey out of SA as well in the side-by-side pro. Same class. This guy's been around a little bit longer, though, than Logan, but by the same token, he ain't holding any back today either.
No, he's our defending AORC side-by-side champion, Lockie, and yeah, he campaigned this car for the first time, the Maverick R, last year, turned up at this event in that and had barely sort of turned a wheel in it. He now has it at the point where he's really happy with it. They've bolstered that car, they've strengthened it. They haven't had to do much to the engine or anything else, but he reckons that, although it's going to get choppy today, they have the key advantage of full drive in these things. So, they're going to hold their own.
And they've spent a lot of time suspension-wise on this too to make sure that it's quite fluid in the way it operates across some of that rough stuff, and they're going to need that today, trust me.
Yeah, absolutely. As we see the third of our side-by-side entries come through, Lachlan Water out of Queensland. Had a good chat to Lachlan yesterday as well. He's from Toowoomba. Really nice fella, and I think he has pretty high aspirations for this weekend. Certainly happy with where he ended up in Section 1 and Prologue as well.
See him kicking up the dust as he heads away. And of course, the beauty of the timing system that we're using here this weekend means that we can sort of get a bit of a visual as to where we think they are on the circuit, and keep a really good eye on it, because everybody today is open to stopping somewhere out on that track. Yeah. So we just need to be really visual and keep an eye on it. That's the 93 of Aaron James, one of the local guys. He had some issues yesterday, but looks like he's good to go for today as well. Yeah, lots of unsung heroes here in our pit complex overnight, having to do all kinds of things to get their trucks ready for today, and buggies. Next one away looks like this will be the car, I think, of Royden Bailey, the South Aussie guy. Yep, this is Lockie Bailey's dad, long-time AORC campaigner. From this field, he knows better than anyone, what it's going to take to get to the end today, and that, you need to kind of, nurse both speed and get your car to the end. charging along nicely there as he gets around that tight hairpin. Look, lots of spectators down there this morning along the main road there out towards Menindee. These guys are all getting a really good view. And we talked yesterday about them being upwind of where the dust is, and even more so today. It pays that dividend, doesn't it, to be upwind of it?
You almost need to carry around your own air filter today. The dust is just so thin and everywhere.
Fine and powdered like talcum powder.
Yeah.
Rightio, next one away for us would be the car 601 of Glenn Ackroyd now. And there he is right on cue, Sam.
Yep, he knows how to boogie, Glenn. And, you know, he was really well placed last year in the AORC Championship. Could have probably taken out the outright side-by-side championship, but unfortunately an incident in prologue at St George ruined his car, so his campaign was never the same after that. But, yeah, he is hungrier than ever to get that one back off Lockie.
Well, he certainly didn't show any signs of any issues yesterday at all. So whatever they've done over that off period to prep it has been pristine, no doubt about it. But more importantly, it performed on cue. Yep. On song yesterday, did not miss a beat. And if anything, I kind of felt he was the guy that was setting the pace for us to understand what the times were going to look like, particularly in the prologue yesterday.
Yeah, absolutely. Interesting seeing just so many different from these aerial shots, and thank you to our crew for bringing these in, but the different lines that guys are taking depending on which vehicle they're in. We're seeing, you know, early apex, late apex, using every millimetre of the track. That's going to be secret today to staying smooth. Looking
at this one now coming in, this is the 38 car of Dean Carter out of SA, one of the pro buggies. And, you know, if I was driving a pro buggy today, Sam, all right, I'd be consolidating like a can in the next 2 laps, because while the track has the ability to be, for want of a better term, my track, okay, I'm going to use it. Yep. So, mate, I would be really on the pin today in this first 2. Looks like the night vehicle there, last minute walk around before they're sent out. They're still a little way down the field before we let them go. Having a look, the next one away was that 61-68 car we were looking at earlier, the Benjamin Nixon car. He'll be the next one away.
Yeah, another South Australian representing down here in the side-by-side pro division as he sets away here at Pooncarie.
The weather yesterday was wonderful for what we needed to do, and again, been blessed with another really fantastic day for off-road racing here down at this venue. And you know, cannot thank the landowners enough for all of the work that they put in to allow us to do what that we have to do. People don't realise that some of these guys have to move stock out of paddocks into somewhere else to clear out for this sort of thing, you know. So yeah, we cannot thank them enough for giving us the opportunity to continue to run like this out here.
Yeah, this is one of those events that, you know, it literally takes a village to get it to operate. So thank you to them. Thank you to all our volunteers as well. You know, countless people out there opening gates and getting the place all ship-shape for today. It promises to be an amazing day of racing.
Rightio, let's keep him moving along nicely, and it'll be the pro buggy of Darren Agrella, I think, that we'll see away next. There it is.
Couple of trophy trucks and buggies making their way through after Darren. We've got Hayden Bentley, Kai Camilleri, I don't believe is starting this one. Chatting to him this morning.
Aaron James will. We saw him poking around out there. And Johnny Towers.
Yeah, John had a really strong prologue yesterday. He was in the top 10, first of the pro lights. He had patches of form last year where, yeah, you're kind of like, wow, he's incredible what he was doing in a pro light machine. So he can definitely boogie, and he knows how to play the long game. I wouldn't be surprised if we see John towards the pointy end at the completion of today.
Yeah, and the other thing, Sam, for him is that John really understands that you got to finish the event, right? And he looks after that car no end. You know, if there's anything in the way of a risk to take, for John, it's got to be a calculated risk to the point where it's like, this is my side of the fence, not the other side. He does not throw things away. So it'll be interesting to see. As we see the truck getting away now, extreme four-wheel drive of Hayden Bentley. Now, this guy's been around for a long time, understands what's got to happen. He'll drive that, not quite to the limit, but pretty close, right? Yeah. He knows what it means to stay mobile and to finish. Hayden hates bringing home things that are bent, busted and broken and torn apart, right? So being in off-roading for so many years now, he's a stalwart in understanding how this works. So we'll be watching him, and I'd be very surprised if he doesn't finish today. There you go.
Yeah, he's definitely been around the block, Hayden. Fink winner, AORC champion, and great to see all of the Haydens here this weekend as well. Sam isn't competing, but his daughter is, and they're all planning to go along to Fink as well this year, so it should be good.
Yeah, well, Hannah, or H, I call her, she did a pretty reasonable job yesterday with what happened, and I think that, given that the conditions rutted up the way it was, she'll watch what she needs to do, and I can guarantee you there would have been some brilliant discussions overnight as to what the strategy would be for the Bentley camp, that's for sure.
Absolutely, yeah. Hannah, unfortunately, won't be starting again today. She had a bit of a car issue, but she's super happy with where she's at in the sport, and I think the aim for her at the moment is just progression every time she gets in the car, and she's certainly showing she can do that.
Well, we were waiting for the time slot for Kai Camilleri now, so...
So for someone like Aaron James, who was due to go after Kai, does that gives him a bit of a buffer now with dust? It's quite an advantage, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing is too, you get a clearer view of the track, right?
Yeah.
So it's not just the view of who's in front of you, and you can literally see the track ground in front of you. So those areas that look quite gnarly, or you see those track movements away or around certain things, that gives you a bit of detail that there's something there you got to avoid. So that is a huge advantage. I know it sounds terrible, but that is a huge advantage. But it is what it is, right?
Yep. No, he's definitely a great advantage for him this morning. We've had a beautiful aerial shot there of some of the West Lime entries. There we go again. The Commons boys, including Samuel, the young 16-year-old, doing great things in the side-by-side class. Brett Comiskey as well in the ex-Toby Price trophy truck. Looking forward to see what Brett can put together today. He is one of our long-time campaigners, and of course heading up the naming rights sponsorship in the Comiskey Mining Services Australian Off-Road Championship this year.
Worked like clockwork over yesterday with our prologue and our and again in our start-up for the first lap yesterday, where they were just shuttling out a group of people 4 at a time, and it just ran beautifully for us to be able to continue to shuttle them through. So
yeah, you can see them sort of boxing in there in the Parc Fermé a little bit to your right of screen there, and then they make their way up to the start line. And we're talking about yesterday, I like the idea of that. I don't like the idea of any kind of racing where you're sitting on the start line just waiting, and it gets in your head and you start thinking about different things. I like the idea of going from one point to another and then taking off.
Well, really, I suppose from a driver point of view, for me, if I was there, I'd be sitting there in that group in Parc Fermé at the top part of the circuit, just basically doing my last checks in my head. We got everything sorted, we're good. And it's not until I get to that 4 block down there that my race face really starts to hit, because now it's about, I am ready to do this. Yep. And I'm now glued in for what we need to do. And it's the last minute, if there's 2 of you in that cab, last minute, are we clean on what we need to do? And then you just get out and go. I think it's a great idea.
Yep. I think a lot of these guys and girls are going to sleep well tonight. 3 laps of this circuit. What was it, about a 55-minute lap yesterday, broken up by a short service stop. It's pretty intense time behind the wheel. You're on the whole
100%.
time.
Yeah, there's no give in it. It's just full go, right?
Yeah.
That's the 127 of John Towers, I think, out there at the moment. Sam? Or the 120, sorry, Brent Martin.
Brent Martin make his way around, yep.
Yeah.
In another pro-light machine. Great to see these guys up towards the pointy end of the field.
Again, great footage out of our drones here this weekend.
Yeah, and this region is looking a picture at the moment. I mean, we've managed to churn up some dust, but otherwise it's very green. They've had a lot of rainfall here lately. As we mentioned, the conditions this morning ideal. It was 12 degrees on my way in this morning and a top of 19. So
There's the Extreme two-wheel drive vehicle, the 467 on screen now of Andrew Commons, and in the Westlime sponsored truck. And he looked pretty solid yesterday too, right? Great performance out of that one yesterday.
Yeah, I think we've got Nick Commons listed there as well. I'm not sure whether he's starting this morning, but yeah, these guys are always up towards the pointy and have a huge, impressive setup that they turn up with, big semi-trailer and the two trucks on board. And now they've got young Samuel Commons joining the fold as well. He's been a force to be reckoned with since he sort of first appeared on scene last year. 16 years old, doing some really impressive stuff in that side-by-side machine. We'll get to see what he's got when he leaves the line shortly.
Chasing out through the scrub line there, and the guys that have set the track up here as well, Sam, to be highly commended for what they've done, because a lot of what's amongst those trees, there's so many different runoff points where if something's not quite right, you've got room to move, unlike some of the others. Like I can remember some of the off-road events like Pines, you were so tight and clustered in trees, you made a left-hand remove instead of the right, you tagged something and it busted up badly. This has got the ability to run off into sections and still be able to gather it up and keep on the throttle sort of thing to a point. So, yeah, great.
And it's funny, you say that. I think nearly everyone kind of admitted yesterday that they did run off in sections. Like they're pushing things right.
Yeah.
Particularly at the pointy end. We had someone like Todd Lehman came in third yesterday. He said he overshot a couple of corners, but he knew he was okay. He knew that Dale Martin ahead of him had done the same because he could see the tracks.
Correct. And that, to my point, is why I commend the track guys, because they've done a great job of putting together a brilliant circuit. Alrighty, next one away. Looks like another of the.
All right, that is good. I wasn't aware if they were going to be starting again or not, but that's good. They got the full complement of Westlime entries here this morning.
Yeah, so Samuel Cummins got away okay. So that's good news, right?
Yeah.
Next one that we'd be looking for would be another of our pro lights, the Victorian-based driver, 153 of Alan Dixon. Looks like, is that a Kaminsky?
Yeah, this might be. So that was Nick Commons that's got away. Now Brett Kaminsky's about to set away. So yeah, this is a Fink winning trophy truck driven by Toby Price. This one, I believe it was 2022 or 2023. Mm-hmm. It's now in the very capable hands of Brett. He is, of course, the owner of Kaminsky Mining Services, our naming rights sponsor in the Australian Off-Road Championship this year. I think, if you're behind the wheel of that thing, the track's definitely going to come to you today, isn't it? As it gets 100%. Rougher and rougher.
Yeah. And trust me, guys like that will consolidate when that does start to happen, and they will start to use it to the full ability. And these things are weapons out there in that. So I cannot wait to see that turning point, whether it turns really early and we end up with 2 laps of truck style track, or whether it's the last lap. If it's the last lap, it's going to be a real chase, right?
Yeah.
But if it's 2 laps, it'll be consolidate as hard as you can and then stretch as fast as you can in the last lap. So it'll be interesting to watch. There's a lot in this race still to be able to unwind. So let's have a look at the next one away, which will be Samuel Cummins this time round in the side-by-side pro. It looks like it's there, so that's good news.
Yeah, it's great news for Sam, yep. Yeah, really interested to see what he can do today. I love this next generation of guys coming through, the likes of him, the likes of Logan Gill as well.
Yep.
Not intimidated by what's around him. I mean, you've got trophy trucks and a pro light machine either side of you, but Samuel knows he's just got to do his thing, concentrate on his own race and try and get to the finish. We
get the aerial shot from here in that next corner in a minute. It's really interesting to watch when we talk about the different lines that the guys are using, and hopefully we'll see that in that tight apex. You'll see the inside line where these side-by-sides run is still quite solid, and you can almost see some of the lines that they're drifting and grinding into that part of the turn. Then you see the wide open sections that are all blown out, where all the big trucks are rolling out through into that, and the back ends is almost carving that top section up. It's brilliant, that aerial shot, when we see it.
Yeah, absolutely. And so pretty to watch from the air as well.
You may see it with this one, maybe. So this one, as they get away, this will be the car of Alan Dixon, the 153 out of Victoria, another pro line. And it looks pretty stable as well. Like he's set for a good 3. Here we go. We'll see if we can see it from the top here. And you can see there's your lines on the outside where they're all blown out and torn to bits, and then these guys coming up on the inside a little bit and hugging that barrel.
Yeah.
I think we only had 2 or 3 yesterday from memory that actually clipped that barrel. Everybody else stayed well inside the boundaries of that, so that was good. Lovely to watch the things just driving away. It's just fantastic, isn't it?
Oh, it's great watching the suspension technology at play. Look at the little adjustments he's making to keep that thing where he wants it.
Mm-hmm. Next one away looks like it will be probably the car of Greg Campbell, I think it is.
Yep.
651. Yep, that's correct. Greg Campbell out of New South Wales.
Yep, Greg's one of our long-time campaigners in the AORC, and I think he finished 3rd outright in the side-by-side championship for last year, so definitely a guy not to be messed with. He's the first of about 5 side-by-side entries coming up, so that will give him, I think, a pretty good gauge of where he should be in terms of speed, if he can use the guys around him as a bit of a barometer. I'd say, this... In terms of where he's starting, Greg's perhaps not as high up the order as he would want to be. He's normally up around that Glenn Ackroyd, Lockie Bailey kind of placing. So, yeah, it's going to be a juggle for him today to try and push, but also consolidate, as we've spoken about. Nice little slide there through that turn for Greg.
He didn't get out of it right. He just kept his foot buried into it. Nice work. Okay, let's move on to Justin Ryder now. This is the 627 entry, and of course Justin hailing out of Queensland. Long drive for him to get down here, but obviously when you're chasing the AORC rounds, you need to make sure that you're able to travel to wherever, and I don't think he was too phased about that. I think his campaign, with Fink only a number of weeks away now, it will be shake it down as solidly as you can, and then prep as best as you can for the next one, and that's exactly what he'll do here this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, coming down from Queensland, I actually walked past his setup this morning. He's got a nice rig all set up. So yeah, I don't think he's doing it in too much discomfort. Great looking buggy as well. Great looking side by side as well. He's got a really nice setup.
Alrighty, we'll move on to the New South Wales driver shortly in Troy Beshman in the 653. Another side by side pro. There he goes. Carries such a real, like, as much as they are a shorter wheelbase vehicle, they carry such a solid footing in the way they drive these things. The tyres on these things are a real work of art because they are punished so heavily, between the suspension that's set up in them and the tyre. The tyre really is a high percentage of suspension component within these. It's crucial for what they do.
Yeah, they've come so far, the side-by-side machines. Like, I look at these and I marvel at something like a Mason powered trophy truck. With these, I genuinely I would love to drive one. I think that'd be so much fun.
I think it's a whole new attitude in the way you drive these things too. Like there is someone's quite happy.
Yeah. Oh, doing a Macarena, I like it. Unorthodox.
Well, I suppose that's one way of prepping yourself ready to go.
Yeah, just ironing out the kinks. I like it.
Good work. Kyle Reid right there at the moment is away. The WA-based guy and his team. Again, another solid commitment to come along for the Australian Off-Road Champ rounds. He obviously saw fit to come up, and he's enjoying his day here at Pooncarie. He sounded like he was pretty comfortable yesterday. There you go. There's that inside line we were talking about, all the washouts after that.
Yeah. Nice and tidy line through there. Yeah, look, we have competitors come from far and wide to be here this weekend. I believe every state represented. A couple from Tassie as well that have got the boat over. So great to see people out in force. As you said, rightly point out, this for many is a bit of a dress rehearsal for Fink coming up in the King's birthday long weekend. It is, of course, our marquee event. in the Comiskey Mining Services Motorsport Australia Off-Road Championship.
So it looks like we've got Dale Martin in the number 5 and the 85 of Lehman, roughly at about the 50% mark. So they're doing pretty well out of all of that.
As we see the next of our side-by-side competitors make their way through. How about Boston Morgan Horan?
He's in there as well. I think there was only 800